Listener Communications. You are listening to Brothers of the Serpent podcast.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all of that stuff. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angels and demons and monsters and serpents. This is Brothers of the Serpent podcast, and we are coming to you not live from the 10 by 10 by 10 Tangent Cube of Science, which has been modified to have a table in it. It's awesome. But it is still nestled amongst the dusty bones of an ancient seabed high atop the Edwards Plateau. So, part of the thing we're doing with the new year, we're starting before the new year. But, I guess maybe you could say a New Year's resolution is we're going to be doing video. We're going to be up in the game a bit. So you guys probably noticed, at least on the last episode, that we set up a couple of cameras. We got Laura in here with us. And then I put a bunch of video and pictures in post for the YouTube version. And we're just going to continue that. We're going to be doing video. But
no more complaints.
What is it going to be like when it's just you and me? Are we still going to have two cameras?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what he was talking about the other day.
All right. Sounds good.
I think it's cool.
And then you can have 4 guests.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could have
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Maybe you could pull off
So
5.
Kyle
For sure
Kyle
have-
did a bunch of work on the studio
4
today.
total.
Took out some bench space and added, which gave us enough room to have a table in the middle.
I went at the bench with a Sawzall.
Yeah.
Ripped
I
it
got out
of
the
there.
paint and did some touch-ups.
Yeah, we had to paint behind it because it was just
well.
a white strip.
Yeah, we had to add some paint.
Oh,
on it.
yeah,
We had
yeah.
to add tracing paper to the lights
So
because
it's
like
yeah,
burning my eyes.
A work in progress.
yeah, it's definitely a work in progress. There's going to be more modifications, and
But that's how it goes here at Snake Bros.
I got some gear coming in the mail, so I can mount the cameras better. And I'm thinking about buying more of these lights and mounting them on the ceiling.
Yeah.
So I got plans.
He has plans.
I do. I made this table today.
It's so
You
good.
made this?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
I made this.
You made it.
Wow.
This was the top of the old chest.
We had a cedar chest that was busted up a long time ago, but this was the top of it, as Laura said, and I welded this base out of just some old junk steel I had laying around.
Well, it's perfect for banging on.
Yep.
Dang it.
It's a good banging
I
table.
can't wait.
So we do have lots of emails, plenty of emails to catch up. And Kyle has some stories. But let's go ahead and tackle some space
crap.
weather news.
Hold on a second. That was the one thing I forgot.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Let me see if-
0 mistakes, folks.
Yeah, well, it's not responding. I'll have to put it in post.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, it's going in post.
All right. From spaceweather.com, where we get all our space weather news, there is a chance of flares today. NOAA forecasters say there is a 55% chance of M-class solar flares and a 15% chance of X flares today. Sunspots AR3169 and AR3176 both pose a threat for such explosions. Neither is directly facing Earth, but they're close enough for radio blackouts and glancing blow CMEs. Also, asteroid radar signal received by hams. Around the world today, ham radio operators picked up an unusual pulsing signal at 9.6 megahertz. It was HARP pinging an asteroid. The same rhythmic pulse was heard across North America, Europe, and Australia. A selection of reports is listed below. So I guess HARP ran an experiment. They sent a signal at an asteroid. Let me check this out. Okay, so somebody says, "Yeah, what is going on here?" There's too many quotes in this story. I'm trying to skip the quotes. Thomas Ashcraft says, I captured the transmission in New Mexico at 9.6 megahertz and 9.585 megahertz on 2 separate radios. It was pulsing every 2 seconds. So if the experiment worked, the pulses also reached asteroid 2010 XC15, which passed by Earth on December 27th at a distance of 770,000 kilometers. Researchers from NASA and the University of Alaska pinged 2010 XC15 with this shortwave radio signal to probe the asteroid's interior. First, if it worked. So we're still waiting for confirmation that the reflections were received as expected by antenna arrays in California and New Mexico. Okay. So they were trying to get reflections off the asteroid that would be picked up by radio telescopes, but ham radio operators also picked it up because it's in their band range.
Thanks for reiterating that because I was distracted.
Yes, it's very confusing. Okay, so solar wind speed 530.1 kilometers per second. Density is 11.49 protons per cubic centimeter. Sunspot number is 96. The neutron count is 2.2% below average. So it's minus 2.2%. That's the first time we've had a below zero percentage on the neutron count.
Wow.
And the KP index right now is 1.67, which is quiet, but the 24-hour max was 4.67, which is in the unsettled range. And that is your Space with the News for the week.
All right, I got the keyboard working.
All right,
go.
good.
That was good, Russ. Flew through that.
Yeah, by the way, we are also joined by the Watcher.
Oh, yeah.
He's up there also capturing reflections from objects in space. Right, Watcher? You there?
Yeah, it was like an alarm clock, just continuous beep, beep, beep. It was terrible. I was planning on being in studio with everyone today. Unfortunately, I am fighting a battle against the plague in my space station. I think I've hit the turning point. I feel like I'm starting to gain ground, but next 24 hours will tell.
Kyle made this table this big for you. Now Russ has like
Yeah, I
that
know.
whole side to himself.
The Watcher said, he was like, hey, I'm coming out. And I was like, oh, man, I have to have a table.
Yeah.
So thanks, bro. You really pushed the work in the studio a lot further today than it was otherwise going to be.
Just start doing that every week. Say you're
I'll be like, hey, man, I'm totally going to be there.
He's like, can I come out, guys? And I was like, well, he was like, if it would make it easier, I could come out there. And I was like, actually, it's going to make it way harder.
Yeah.
I was saying that in text to him earlier today. Like, you might want to check with them. We're on a new video thing that's like we're working out kinks right now.
But I'm glad it's good. Sorry you couldn't make it out.
But we're happy to
Yeah, me
have
too.
you.
Yeah, glad you're here. Glad you're with us.
Kyle has stories.
Yeah, so also we are, I don't know if you mentioned this because I got so distracted, but we're changing the format only for the listener communications episodes. It will be the old format, as you probably noticed when we did Space.
Oh, yeah. I
Ravens
think
first.
we've mentioned this before, right?
Have we?
Yeah. Last time we did listener communications, we did all this stuff up front. We were like, these episodes, if you like the old
Oh.
format, this is where the old format will be.
I thought I
And
just
if you
came up
like
with that
Snake
idea.
Wife, this is where
you
she's
came
gonna
up with
be.
it last time. You just forgot. So it's like,
Because we agreed that I was going to come in on listener communication episodes too.
yeah.
So old format, Snake Wife.
Right. There you go. Laura will be here with us for listener communications at the very least.
At the very least.
Yeah.
But I might bring coffee in or cake.
Well, I just mean
man,
that anytime you want to join, I'm happy to have you in here.
And I'm happy to be here anytime.
Yeah,
but I'm
so-
saying there
I
may
know
be
you're
times where
busy.
I just walk in with
Oh. You just
coffee or
like,
cake or, I don't know.
we need a big on air.
Look, you have a table now. Yes.
That'd be
so you can
great.
turn it on so people don't just walk in the middle of recording, except like
Soul
Laura
would
can-
do it anyway. I
He
mean,
would.
just-
He would be like, why is there a red light out here?
But I could just put, we have a table. Anyway, what you
Coffee
got?
sounds great.
Coffee does sound good.
So I got a set of stories. I don't know if I should read the full story of everyone, but I'm gonna go through this. This is just interesting. This is December 24th. This is on phys.org. 5,700 years of sea level change in Micronesia hint at humans arriving much earlier than we thought. So, sea levels in Micronesia rose much faster over the past 5,000 years than previously thought, according to our new study published today in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. This sea level rise is shown by the accumulation of mangrove sediments on the islands of Pohnpei and Kosrae. The finding may change how we think about when people migrated into remote Oceania. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And where
Yeah,
they
I
might
can never
have
figure that out either.
Oceania.
Oceania?
and where they might have voyaged from. While recent decades saw significant advancements in linguistic, bioanthropological, and archaeological research in the region, The exact pattern and timing of human settlement of remote Oceania is still debated. Humans began migration into Oceania, the area of the open Pacific Ocean east of New Guinea and the Philippines, some 3,300 to 3,500 years ago. This migration required formidable long-distance ocean voyaging of the likes never seen before in human history. So they think.
How do they know that? Yeah, okay.
The region of Micronesia extends many thousands of kilometers and contains thousands of low-lying atolls. Many of these atolls formed roughly 2,500 years ago when the sea level in the region stabilized close to where it is today. Before that, the sea level might have been up to 2 meters higher than at present. People could only settle these atolls successfully once sea levels had lowered and stabilized. But here are also older and higher volcanic islands in Micronesia. Across remote Oceania, these higher islands were more desirable for settlement than low-lying atolls because they have more reliable fresh water sources, more developed soils for agriculture, and are less vulnerable to storm surges. We looked at the published ages of settlement across the western part of remote Oceania and found that high islands tend to show earlier ages of settlement compared to atolls, which is what we would expect. But we don't see this pattern in Micronesia. The high islands of Pohnpei and Kosrae show settlement ages about 1,000 years later than other similar islands. Why? Deep within the mangrove forests of Pohnpei and Kosrae, which I'm also not sure how to pronounce that.
Pohnpei is where Nan Madol is, by the
Okay.
way.
All right.
The island of Pohnpei.
Nan Madol is the one that's
Giant, like Lincoln log basalt column, columnar
but the
basalt.
one that's like kind of in the water already.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the log cabin.
Yeah,
The
it looks like a
the
log cabin.
columnar
Yeah, it's a
basalt log cabin
giant columnar basalt, but built like a.
that you see in Ancient Apocalypse.
Yeah, you do see
You
some
do
shots
see
of that.
that,
yeah.
I love that thing.
So they basically they're describing in this. I don't think I just need to read the rest of it. The point is they're describing like how they figured out from mangrove settlements what the sea levels were and that they were at different levels than they thought before, and so the people must have come much earlier. That's the point.
Okay.
I don't need to go through all these
Yeah.
details. It's just not. That's not really what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the whole set of these stories.
Okay.
So, like I said, that was December 24th. Pushing it back. Humans arriving much earlier than previously thought by archaeologists and stuff. The next one is from Heritage Daily. This is also December 24th. It is oldest known projectile points uncovered in the Americas. Archaeologists from the Oregon State University have uncovered a collection of projectile points that date from roughly 15,700 years ago. The researchers found 13 full and numerous fragmentary projectile points at the Cooper's Ferry site along Salmon River in present-day Idaho. They are 2,300 years older than the points previously found at the same site and 3,000 years older than the Clovis fluted points found throughout North America. The Salmon River site is on a traditional Nez Perce land known to the tribe as the ancient village of Nipehe. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. The land is currently held in public ownership by the Federal Bureau of Land Management. The points are revelatory not just in their age, but in their similarity to projectile points found in Hokkaido, Japan, dating to 16,000 to 20,000 years ago.
Oh, man.
Their presence in Idaho adds more detail to the hypothesis that there are early genetic and cultural connections between the Ice Age peoples of Northeast Asia and North America.
What was the name of that guy that was... what was the name of the... What was he called? The...
Kennewick Man.
Yes. Was I can't remember if it was genetic markers or
Can you look him up?
can you
What
look up
was his-
Kennewick Man Watcher?
There was a
there were-
controversy over the...
Yeah, and
connection
they
to-
thought he might be connected to the Ainu, which are Japanese, or I guess you would call them, they're indigenous to the islands of Japan, but they have Caucasian features.
Don't
I know.
be racist. Okay.
I knew that was coming.
Lauren Davis, an anthropology professor at OSU, said the earliest peoples of North America possessed cultural knowledge that they used to survive and thrive over time. Some of this knowledge can be seen in the way people made stone tools, such as the projectile points found at the Cooper's Ferry site. By comparing these points with other sites of the same age and older, we can infer the spatial extents of social networks where this technological knowledge was shared between peoples, added Davis. These slender projectile points are characterized by two distinct ends, one sharpened and one stemmed, as well as a symmetrical beveled shape if looked at head on. They were likely attached to darts rather than arrows or spears, and despite the small size, they were deadly weapons, Davis said. There's an interesting assumption that early projectile points had to be big to kill large game. However, smaller projectile points mounted on darts will penetrate deeply and cause tremendous internal damage, he said. You can hunt any animal we know about with weapons like these. Even a dragon? Come on.
Sasquatch?
I thought that was cool because people.
So, what was the headline again? The headline of the story was it
Oldest.
Oldest. Yeah, because I mean, there's
American projectile points uncovered.
isn't that like there's the Topper site? and
15,700 years old.
I thought there were points that were older than that. 20,000.
Yeah, but these are projectile points. I mean, there are definitely very crude knives and stuff like that. But
Oh.
as far as like projectiles, like atlatl
Okay.
or something that they're maybe a spear or a dart or an arrow.
So the other sites have worked stone, but not necessarily
Definitely.
projectiles. All right.
There's really old work stone, but I don't know about, in the Americas, what is the oldest worked stone?
Well, there's the
Not sure.
Cerruti site. I was looking these up. There's Topper, but the Cerruti Mastodon site. Now, of course, it's controversial because they have what?
We got some stuff about some. Let's
Okay,
see. We'll just move on.
Because they had Cerruti has broken mastodon bones that they think had tool marks on them from 130,000 years ago, and then there's Huatlico that had definite tools, stone tools, and those were dated to like 250,000
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah. I think that they are. Remember in Hidden History of the Human Race, they're debating whether these were like naturally flaked.
Yeah, all right, that's right.
There's no way these points are naturally flaked. There's some pictures in here. They're beautiful.
I was looking at those pictures.
Yeah, I saw
beautiful
that, yeah.
They're
points.
gorgeous.
Yeah, just it's awesome. I probably have some of these. I was looking at these bases. I'm like, I recognize
Oh yeah, that looks
base.
familiar. It does. Yeah.
This looks like an Angostura right there.
So I guess you'll need to send me that picture so I can stick it in the show here.
This one looks familiar.
Well, it's on your iPad.
Okay.
So, all right, next story. This is December 23rd, and I saw a lot of different news sites had this story, and then of course I posted some of these in the Discord, and damn, I forgot his name. You'll have to cut that part out. I forgot the guy's name. That's really bad.
Somebody in the Discord?
Yeah, he posted the actual papers for it, and I didn't look at them. I was just busy, but I shared this story in there for sure.
Man, babe,
This
that
is-
just got worse.
What?
You didn't know his name, and you didn't even look at the.
I didn't look at the papers. I was just like throwing it up there on the Discord to share it with everybody. So this one is 320,000-year-old cut-marked bones provide evidence for exploitation of bearskins.
And where were those found?
I don't think they were found here.
No. Yeah.
I think they think that this is Homo erectus or... Anyway, cut marks on bones are often interpreted in archaeology as an indication of the utilization of meat, said lead author Dr. Ivo Verheijen, a researcher with the Senckenberg Center for Human Evolution and Paleo Environment at the University of Tübingen at the Forschungsmuseum. But there is hardly any meat to be recovered from hand and foot bones. In this case, we can attribute such fine and precise cut marks to the careful stripping of the skin. A bear's winter coat consists of both long and outer hairs that form on airy protective layer and short, dense hairs that provide particularly good insulation. Bears, including extinct cave bears, needed a highly insulating coat for hibernation. In their study, Dr. Verheijen and colleagues examined the 320,000-year-old bear bones from the Schöningen site in Germany. Okay, it's a German institution. The very thin cut marks found on the specimens indicate delicate butchering and show similarities in butchery patterns to bears from other Paleolithic sites. These newly discovered cut marks are an indication that about 300,000 years ago, people in northern Europe were able to survive in winter thanks in part to warm bearskins. But how were the bearskins obtained? Blah, blah, blah. They go on. Let's see. Did people at that time hunt bears? Who were these people? Let's see. Let's see. Is that it? Maybe that was it. Anyway, that was an interesting thing to me. This is not the story where they talk about possibly Homo erectus. But yeah, butchering of meat. Remember that bone that we saw at the museum here?
Yes.
And they're
Yep.
debating whether it was
Where here?
in the little museum.
The little
in
natural
town.
history museum in town has a bone that was found in that was
And it has
from a
cut
Texas
marks on
site. It
it.
has butchering marks on it,
It's a mammoth bone.
and it's like 22 to 24,000 BP.
But that's from the Americas. This is in Germany.
Yeah.
And I guess this is not controversial.
No, I mean,
that people were butchering and like making fur coats and stuff 320,000 years ago. I thought the human race was like maybe not even that old.
yeah.
People are thinking like 250,000 for Homo sapiens sapiens. So
Yeah.
this is somebody else.
Right.
Or Homo sapiens sapiens go further back.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. The next one is from Ancient Origins. Get away, you stupid pop-up ad. Go. This is December 21st. And this one says, evidence shows archaic humans sailed to the Aegean Islands 450,000 years ago.
What? Sailed?
Sailed.
So every time we turn around, shit's just getting older.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's more advanced. It's
This is
like,
advanced.
you go from like, oh, they might have had sharp stones that they were cutting bearskins with to
Yeah.
like, yeah, they built boats and sailed the ocean. That's crazy.
Hold on a damn minute. Like 250,000 years old is way too old for tools in central Mexico, but we're sailing between islands in the Mediterranean 500,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah, bro.
cool. All right.
Yeah, but yeah, this is like, Pleistocene news, folks.
Pleistocene news.
For all your updates on what's going on in the Pleistocene,
That's right.
come to Snake Bros.
Guaranteed to be at least 12,000 years old.
Okay, so it says ample archaeological and geological evidence has been uncovered that suggests archaic humans were building boats and crossing the Aegean Sea as long as 450,000 years ago. The authors of a new article in Quaternary International report. This is well before modern humans evolved and migrated to Europe from Africa, meaning these ancient sailors from the Middle Pleistocene period belong to a different hominin species altogether. Most likely Homo erectus, one of the more immediate ancestors of Homo sapiens. The study that led to this intriguing conclusion was carried out by a team of Greek scientists from the Oceanus Lab at the University of Petrus. Their interest in the question was sparked by the discovery of ancient prehistoric tools in the Aegean Islands, which span the expanse of the Mediterranean. The Aegean Sea is an arm of the Mediterranean that separates Europe from Asia. These tools belong to the ancient Acheulean tool industry, which was created by Homo erectus approximately 1.7 million years ago and is most closely associated with that hominin species. Assuming these tools were left by this long extinct cousin of modern humans, it would seem that Homo erectus must have settled on the Aegean Islands hundreds of thousands of years ago. There is a problem with that. But these bodies of land are islands, which means they would have been accessible exclusively by boat or raft. And that means Homo erectus, an allegedly primitive precursor of modern humans that disappeared from the earth more than 100,000 years ago, must have discovered how to build waterborne craft long before humans would have been around to come up with the idea. So, I think
We
that's
have
pretty
invented
cool.
nothing.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah, so they go in.
It's just if you kind of look at the idea of what Homo erectus is, you know, I mean, we're talking about an upright ape almost. Lucy was Homo erectus, I believe.
Lucy the ape.
Yeah, Lucy is a famous, you know, fossil find. 2 million years old or something like that. So they're just not supposed to have been tool users, I don't think. Maybe they were tool users, but I don't know if they were supposed to have built boats. So this is very interesting.
Yeah, so basically they go on to describe that some people were thinking that maybe there were land bridges to these islands. So this team went and did all this research on these ancient river deltas in the region to track the changes in sea level over the past 450,000 years.
No land
They
bridges.
were never, they were always islands. So they were saying maybe there were times when they could have seen, you know, they're miles away.
Yeah.
But they would have been able to see some of these islands out in the distance. The only way to get there is to build a craft.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, dude. So all these came out like within a few days, and it just made me think of Ancient Apocalypse. I was like, everything keeps getting
I can
older.
see what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yep,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like this just comes out and then boom, it's
Yeah,
like, this is the
everything's
oldest
getting-
thing. This is pushing
Yeah.
this way back. This is
Yep.
pushing this way back. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't mean anything. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Or maybe now's the time when the standard model really is just going to get burned to the ground. Maybe we're watching it happen, guys.
It's going to be a slow death.
A slow burn.
Yes, very slow burn.
Well, we've lit the match, I guess.
Watcher, did you have something on Kennewick, man? Do you want to come on and say?
Yeah, so the dating on it was roughly
Australopithecus, okay.
8 to 9,000 years ago. But the big controversy was by law, whatever native tribe had the area that the artifact was found in, they could lay claim to it. But all the researchers were like, yeah, but its DNA is totally different than yours. And everybody's like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Like, it's not your ancestor. I'm like, yes, it is. It's on our land. We've always been here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the controversy, and so now it can't be studied. But the
Not
researchers,
by racists.
the researchers did have time with it. So,
Yeah.
and I see you put Lucy was an Australopithecus up there. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, those poor guys fell into the same trap as all boat owners. They were doomed. You know, spend your life fixing your boat and paying for repairs, man. You end up starving on an Aegean island.
Hey, man,
How it goes.
they lasted for like 300 something thousand years after that. Oh, well, 200.
Maybe not those guys that made it to the island.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what he's saying. They sailed to the island. It's one-way trip. You know,
It's crazy.
they made a
though.
bunch of tools there trying to fix their boat.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I do notice what you're saying, though. It's like they're it's now the final edition updated 3 to 5 times daily just to keep up. Because
Yeah.
they're really starting to find those holes in that old standard model.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, the human origin story is constantly changing, and most of the changes are pushing it back, like every day.
Yeah.
So,
Which is a good thing.
yeah.
Anything that's going to get us closer to aliens. Let's just push it all the way back.
We are the aliens.
It's kind of the only direction you can go because, you know, they'll get pretty solid evidence that they were at least here at this time. Then the only thing you can find
Yeah.
at that point is something that puts it further back. It's not like you're going to unfind the evidence that placed them at a certain.
Well, I mean, no, but they'll say, well, that's not true. This is the samples
too
were bad,
early,
or it was
yeah.
this has been debunked, and so
Okay.
then it pulls it back. That does happen.
this is
It
true.
is- as soon as that comment was made, half the Discord cheered and half the Discord booed.
Oh, what the aliens comment?
Yes, to get us back.
Oh,
to
like
the
right
aliens.
now?
Not right now, but when they
Oh.
listen to it, I think is what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
I think they're all going to cheer. I don't know what he's saying. Half of them.
I like to find out that there's more to the story.
Absolutely.
I like it. Every time somebody says, oh, this is actually older, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else can we find?
So you're way more progressive than me. I just respond with duh. Which isn't helpful. I'm just frustrated.
That's why we don't give you a mic. Turn your mic off.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's take a break.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Snakes.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, brothers of the Serpent podcast, listener communications episode.
Woo.
And yeah, haven't heard from you guys in a while.
Love
Doing
hearing
some
from
traveling. So definitely looking forward to that. I think Russ has, obviously picked all the best of the best emails.
No, I picked the worst ones this time. Let's
And,
go with all the worst emails.
So he's read them before. I'm
That'll
going
be
to cold
fun.
read some.
Well, I'm practically cold reading them because some of these are old. I mean, like we're on November 7th here.
We're going way back.
Yeah. So this first one is from Greg. It's called Written Magic. He says, hello, I have been listening and I've reached episode 50. I have a long way to go. You may have fleshed this out, but the word, quote unquote, spoken is always more powerful than the written. Each can be accurately received or misconstrued, yet the spoken word has legit power from vibrational to knowledge and wisdom to intent. God, quote unquote, spoke words in their understanding, but it could just as well have been the telepathic intent. Intent and feelings are more powerful than the written word. These are simple, secondhand copies of what was said, but they do not have the aforementioned qualities in the infinite now. It ends up being knowledge versus wisdom, which is knowledge forged on the anvil of experience. Hearing a speaker speak is much more powerful than the book. But then again, maybe that is why we have book signings. So there is then put there upon the intent. Who knows? I love the show, love the science, the humor, and the thought-provoking thought processes. Sincerely, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
I can see that. When you're reading, you may be getting distracted or I don't know. Somebody's giving a speech in front of you.
Yeah.
Their energy moving you.
Right.
I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Randall's talked about it too. Like, there was a thing where you went and sat at the feet of the masters to listen to them teach. It was different from reading their writings. Like both of them have, like the reading the writings has a positive influence and may lead you to go and meet the person, but really you want to, you want to converse with them or listen to them, be in their presence.
Mm-hmm. Feel their energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I mean, it's just like we talked about the idea of the written word being a spell and like a speech being like the casting of it.
Yeah. Yes. The spell is written, you cast it when you say it.
So they work together.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember you saying some stuff about this before.
Yeah. And on the other end of it, I have this presentation that I've been giving, and it's completely different doing it in here. I mean, it's still spoken word, but doing it in here versus doing it in front of a group of people. It's a totally different
Yeah.
setup and feeling
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't know if I could do that. I'd be pretty nervous. I like being in here, surrounded by these tangent cube walls. Okay, next email is, let's see, from Z. Or Zach. Hey, brothers. Armed with my certificate of ignorance, most of which is plagiarized from you guys, I am quite certain this is 98.7% wrong. But hear me out. Working late at night in the home shop, listening to some good old bots like usual, and I had a thought. We have wishing wells in parks and such, right? Well, if memory serves me right, which it most likely doesn't, there are myths of these wishing wells having to do with fairies and leprechauns and similar creatures. And they hate being tricked. So what do? We throw them copper, which isn't copper. Modern pennies are copper-coated zinc. And silver, which isn't silver. Most silver-colored coins are nickel and copper sandwiches. No wonder things are going completely haywire. Those guys are freaking pissed.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on, my friends. Get back to work. Z.
I love that.
Tell the Faye, I'm going to give you a copper sandwich.
Nickel and copper sandwiches.
Thank you
Yep.
for that.
I can see that, the Fae folk might not like nickel and copper sandwiches.
Yeah.
Toss a PB&J in the pond next time.
There you go. I mean, the coin, tossing them the coin is, maybe it needs to be a real coin, like actual gold or silver or whatever. It's a good point.
Maybe just throw some mercury in there.
There you go.
You think about that, Watcher. We should do that, huh? Don't even say it.
Okay. This one's from Scott. It's called Late to the Party. E equals MC squared unit problem. Hi, I found your podcast by Googling around the Giza power plant from Chris Dunn. After listening to the 5 episodes as you discussed the book, I was hooked. You guys are great, and I love the podcast. And since I'm a completionist, I decided to go back and start from episode 1. But then I found out that doesn't exist, so yeah. But now I'm on episode 57, or 56, and you recently discussed the unit problem with E equals MC squared, squaring the speed of light. You may have further discussed this, so I apologize if I haven't heard it yet. This was bothering me, and as I was thinking about it, I thought of G, or acceleration due to gravity. This is approximately 9.8 meters per second squared. The second squared in this case can be thought of as something going 9.8 meters per second and increasing by an additional 9.8 meters per second every second. So to visualize squaring the second, think of acceleration. So how to visualize squaring the velocity? My thought was, when you square the velocity, maybe that means that both the distance and the time are increasing. Where acceleration, here gravity, only the time is squared. So the increase is constant at 9.8 meters per second. But if the distance is also squared, perhaps the distance traveled also increases each second as well, such that for the speed of light, the first second, the speed is 3 to the 8th power, what is this? 3e8 meters per second, and the next second it increases by another 3e8 or 7.6e8, and so on. Or maybe it's just an area accelerating through time. I don't know, but when I graph normal acceleration, the velocity increases linearly, and the distance increases by the square of time, which makes sense. When I graph velocity squared over increasing over time, the velocity increases as the square of time, and the distance increases as the cube or third power of time.
I'm so lost.
This makes mathematical sense, but again, it's hard to visualize. But if you think of F equals ma, or force equals mass times acceleration, or gm times m divided by s to the second power, energy is a force applied over distance. And he's given tons of equations in here. E equals F times D, or gm times m squared divided by s squared. This is consistent with the units of E equals mc squared, so at least the units work out. It's easy to visualize GM times. Are you sure it's easy to visualize this?
He needs to send a slideshow for you to put
As
in
applying a
during
force. Okay, so he's giving forces over a distance, meters. But yeah, squaring a velocity is pretty weird to think about. I wonder if Einstein could visualize it. Anyway, thanks for the podcast. I can't wait to see what's in store for me. It's actually the past for you in the upcoming episodes. I hope you made it to the pyramids. We did.
this. Twice.
We did. Thank you. Thank you.
I do notice that the episodes are still coming out, so at least you didn't glad yet. Keep up the great work, and thanks for giving me cool shit to think about. From Scott.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, buddy.
I guess I should have read that second paragraph because there's too many. Anyway, it was very interesting, but yeah, I could have just skipped all that because he's like, basically, if you think of a bunch of stuff that's impossible to visualize over audio, then it still doesn't work, I think is what he was saying.
I got some other things I need you to figure out, bro.
So basically what he's saying is squaring this distance is a difficult thing. And
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
the units work out, but what is actually happening?
That's
in
what
this?
I'm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I get
I'm
what he
sorry,
was
squaring
saying.
a velocity.
So the equation is to determine the
Did
amount
we
of
tell you
energy
you could turn
within
on
a
your
mass.
mic?
Oh, here we go.
What is going on over here?
So he's talking about the speed of light squared, which I don't think is meant to be used as a derivative of acceleration or velocity. It's the mass times the speed of light squared as a like constant value will give you the energy that is contained within the mass.
Yeah.
So he may just be trying to derive what this unit is when the unit isn't meant to be the speed being squared per se. It's a number that you're using as a constant times the mass to give you the amount of energy.
That's right. And I think he was pointing that out. He's like, it's weird because it's a velocity. How do you
Right.
square a velocity?
Yeah. He's responding to me.
Yeah.
Because I was complaining about how weird this is.
Yeah.
But of course, I don't math. So this guy obviously does.
Yeah, so I think the point one of the points of the equation itself, E equals mc squared, is showing you the relationship,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's how most people take it, I think, but that's the point in physics, is that there's a relationship between energy and the velocity of light and mass. But your question is still good.
It's
like,
just-
what does it mean to square a velocity? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
It's
obviously
It's a
difficult
constant,
to
so.
explain, even if you do math.
Yeah.
Thanks for trying, Scott.
Great
I
email.
appreciate that.
Send us some pictures.
Yeah. Send us some scribbles that kind of like can illustrate it for me. All right. Wow. Is this on Kindle? This is from Robert. He says, acceptance of Kyle's challenge.
Are you
and
saying
plea
it's a
for-
book? Is that
That's my way of saying this is a book. Dear Snake Bros, I hope this missive finds you both warm and moist. Whoa.
Wow.
I know you guys are headed out on tours, but I can't wait any longer to send you this, my third email ever. In regards to Kyle's challenge to send you my theories on I think he means Serapeum.
Yeah.
Like I said in my previous email, I do not have much time for research. However, I have finally caught up on all of your podcasts and have gone over some of Ben's Uncharted X episodes. And I have come to these conclusions.
Kyle.
After listening to the episode on resonance, I am not sure I would want my badass sarcophagus underground in a hand-hewn vault to be vibrating away and cause a possible rock collapse on top of it. Unless the vault they were contained in was filled with water, or the chamber vault or chamber/vault were made to the same resonant frequency as the boxes were tuned at. I believe Randall has a chart of resonant frequency of materials that he just mentioned on Rogan. I do think your guest / can't remember his name, Swedish fellow /
Sebastian.
Sebastian, I think that was supposed to be in parentheticals, but they were slashes, was on Sorry, Robert.
This is only his third email ever.
I'm sorry,
Be
Robert.
careful.
I'm not trying to be a jerk. This is cool. So, yeah, he's talking about Sebastian. I think your guest, Sebastian, was onto something when he was talking about chemical residue on the boxes being tested. I, however, am intrigued by the false doors you guys mentioned. The same material that the boxes were made of being set into the wall would make for a good conductor for whatever the boxes were emitting. Freaking rhythm guitarist always playing with and in opposition to the drummer. Are you done tuning? The drummer is ready to play. Just busting your chops, bub. I respect everything you do.
What?
He just threw in like, he's just trashing me for being a guitarist.
Yeah.
I take back everything I said trying to be nice to you, Robert, earlier.
Keep writing in. It's going to be okay.
Now then, plea for help, he says. Quite some time ago, I had an idea about Atlantis. And after the Cosmographia episodes about Atlantis, I have spent a lot of time working on this idea. I believe the German archaeologist Wirth was partially correct. He was looking for the descendants of Atlantis, which after this much time and crossbreeding, you are never going to find. So I decided to look at possible ruins of the Atlantean civilization. I started out by printing out a picture of the Pleiades star system and poking holes in the paper, flipping it over, and plotting it on a map. I am not very good with technology, so you do what you have to. And lo and behold, what did I find? Placing the center star of the Pleiades on the Azores, you get correlations to Sage Mountain, Montana, Mexico City, Peru, and a couple of other places. On what map projection are you doing this? Is it a Mercator projection? Because obviously you're not laying your piece of paper around a globe, my friend.
And how big is the piece of paper relative to the map size? Like
if he's got the Pleiades, which is a tiny, to the visible eye, it's a very small constellation, and he's putting the center star on the Azores, and you get
it must be huge. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you decide the scale?
And Peru,
Yeah.
and a couple of other places. So we'll just let him have that.
That's what I'm saying. How do you decide the scale? That's the first question.
The first question to me is, what map projection is it?
Yeah.
Because Mercator.
Second question is, how do you decide the scale?
You gotta redo your experiment and stretch this thing over a globe. So before I lose my ever-snaking mind, can someone please overlay the Pleiades star system on a map and tell me I'm not wrong? Well, we just told you you're wrong.
Again, thank you for writing in.
Laura's playing the good cop here, Robert. Believe me, if we ever hang out, if you ever come on a tour, it'll be just like this.
That's right. You're wrong, bro.
You're so wrong.
It'll be good, though.
You know what? Let's have a drink for how wrong you are, bro.
I mean, it's pretty dang wrong.
Okay, he says, because as above, so below. I do think it's a cool idea, though, that you're doing here. So, and here's the kicker. If we all believe Plato, why don't we believe the many stories, Greek and Native American, that the seven sisters rose up and became the Pleiades star system? Oh, wait. How did those people see even the seven sisters rise up? The Pleiades system is 100 million years old, and the map I used was of Pangaea. What? So could someone way smarter than your average drummer or semi-truck builder please look into this? Oh, I don't know, like a rhythm guitarist and maybe a guy with the initials RC. Wait a minute.
Oh, man. Nope.
How dare you? You should put that at the beginning of your email. Please send this to Randall.
Yeah.
And then finally, he says, Russ, I know this is a book, and you can edit for content if you want to, but please, can you guys get someone to look into this? I have tried the Stellarium app and several other thingies, and I just can't get the tech part. Yours snakefully, the Moose. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Robert. I'll pass this on to Randall.
No need. We told you you're wrong, bro.
I'll tell Randall to listen to this show.
I mean, it's a fun idea, but there's just, there's too many arbitrary things in there, I think.
Yeah. What scale? You would have to overlay it on a globe in some way.
Yeah. And he said Pangea. So what? He
Yeah, I
took
don't
a
know.
100-million-year-old map,
Yeah, that didn't make
which
sense.
is totally theoretical in the first
theoretical,
place.
completely.
We don't really know. It's a geological guess. So
But I understand what you're doing. You're kind of doing like the Orion correlation type of thing, a Robert Bivol idea. Like, let's look at what's on the ground and see if it matches the pattern of the stars in the sky. That's cool to do.
yeah.
Definitely a cool thing to do.
Okay. This is from Trevor. It's called Snakes. Okay, so Trevor says, Snake Bros, today you melted my heart. I got all warms and fuzzies. I felt my heart open and out came a Fibonacci spiraling serpent of pure energy, illuminating me as I was on my way to work because you read my email on the show. This is the best response I could get. So I wondered if this would ever happen as I work my way on catching up in the backlog, but I'm getting too close, so I had to slow down. I don't want to have to wait a week for new sods. Plus, now I'm hooked on Grimerica and Grimerica Outlawed as well. Oh, awesome. I hope you guys are enjoying Egypt right now. The show keeps getting better. The book reports are so good, even though the guy reading can't pronounce anything properly and that other guy just keeps chiming in the background. And Marty and the UFOs. These sods actually broke my streak of listening in order. I had to skip ahead just a couple. And the listener episodes are great too. I love when you read those comments and have fun with people. Grandma, workout guy, etc.
Robert,
What was Grandma's problem?
we took too long to get to the subject.
Oh, that's what it
Can
was.
you guys hurry up and get to the subject?
That's right.
So workout
like-
guy and grandma were the same problem.
Yeah.
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 That's right.
Getting right to the point for grandma.
I wonder if they're related.
Maybe it's workout guy's grandma.
Yeah, yeah, that's what
Oh
I
my
think it
God.
is.
Oh my God.
And they're like, let's give him the 1-2 punch. You write an email, I'll write an email.
Well, workout guy was a YouTube comment.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, there goes
Yeah.
our theory, babe.
Grandma's old school. She does RSS.
Yeah. She writes in emails, workout guys on YouTube. So Trevor says, keep up the great work. It was episode 237, Book of the Damned, part 8, where you read my email, and I'm so grateful. The love you guys share with us all as we slither through life, and the brain expansion, although sometimes painful, is always worth it. Keep searching for knowledge and never stop laughing along the way. Love you guys. We will meet on a trip. It will happen one day. Just saying. Peace and love from Trevor. And P.S. Snakes! And P.P.S. Kyle. That new album gets better and better the more I listen.
Awesome. Bro.
Love the name. Love the album art. I could tell you must have been into Chris Cornell. The band has great talent. I heard the interview on Grimerica, and I was about to buy the album on iTunes till I heard what you said about them not wanting that cut of $0, those fools. Anyway, trying to come up with a way to donate, but only option is PayPal, but I'll see what I can do.
That's fine.
Snakes!
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
that.
That was a great email.
Yeah. That was a good one.
I love being in here for this. This is fun.
Cool.
What time we got?
No.
I forgot
never
to, I
flip
forgot
that
to start
thing
the
over.
sands of time.
we're like, we got some minutes
we got
left.
some time. Okay.
One more email?
Next.
Yeah. Paul is also a producer of the show. Came to visit us while we were gone,
Yep.
and he writes us an email. He says, we had a great time at Turtle Creek. He says, I just wanted to say thank you so much for setting up the tour for us with Carl at Turtle Creek. My family had a spectacular time. We went to the tasting room in Kerrville first, and Todd was so great. And this is Todd who works at the tasting room. He is a-
for marketing people.
Todd. He is a good conversationalist and truly loves the wine. He also was a hit with the kids when he turned that pinball machine on for them. Yeah, we got these old
The
school
secret
pinball machines.
pinball machines upstairs.
I don't think they knew what pinball was until that moment, but they had a blast.
Wow.
My 8-year-old son also enjoyed the painting on the wall in the room with the arrowheads and fossils. Oh, God. Yes, there is a nude painting on the wall. Yes, I'm sure he enjoyed that. Smart boy. You know
Just,
that.
I think it's just boy.
What? Okay, fine. That white wine Todd recommended for my wife and I was awesome. We ended up getting 3 bottles. Then Carl and Corey showed up and we were off to the vineyard. They were so nice and were ready to answer any question. That was good because I had a lot of them. They drove us up the hill to your rock formation while explaining the past, present, and hopefully a hopeful future of the winery. It was way more than I could have hoped for. I can't thank you or them enough for the hospitality. I even got to see the inside of your laboratory. Now I can picture it whenever you have an ag update. On a side note, my kids wanted to catnap Meowser.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Catnapping Meowser.
No.
No, you can't have the meows.
But we have enough cats already, so I'll put a stop. I put a stop to their evil scheme. On our drive through Texas, we listened to some Cosmo and Snake Bros podcasts as well. The moon episode was a good one, but my kids always laughed every time the F-bomb is dropped.
Why are you letting them listen to those? I don't understand.
They liked the banana soda as well, and Randall's recent talks on climate are a good science lesson for the kids.
Yeah.
We also listened to some Path of the Pole episodes, which are great, but every time I hear that title, I think it sounds like a book I might find in an adult periodicals and novelty store.
I agree with that. I'm the one having to say it.
I've never thought of that. Wow. Yeah.
You think of pole dancing when you hear that? Or we're talking about a different kind of pole here.
The path of the pole. Wow.
I was trying to make it light for the children.
I was just telling you that I agree with him. I was just letting him know I agree with him. I wasn't
Okay.
trying to break into what are we thinking when we hear it.
I was just curious. So it says, my mind sometimes shifts. Gutter word. This is a good word.
Oh, because
You belong in the back of the bus. oh
equator
boy.
word.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is a back
gutter
of the bus
word.
guy.
Yeah.
I think so.
One thing I can't get my head around with Hapgood's theory is what about the Yellowstone hotspot and others like it around the world? If the crust really shifted like he says, shouldn't Yellowstone be in Canada right now? Maybe I'm dumb. Who knows? In summary, thank you and snakes! No, I think that hotspot, well, it just depends on what kind of situation it is. If it was a plume, like if there was a fissure going up into the crust and there was a big, cavern full of lava in there, then yeah, that would move. But if it was like a hot spot, like the one in, you can see its path on the map. And it's over there.
Isn't that the Yellowstone one?
Is that Yellowstone?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Yeah, I agree. That is
So
a good
yeah,
question.
that thing is basically staying in the same position as the crust moves. It's staying in the same position.
Yeah.
The crust is moving over it, and the hot spot is still there, and it's just cooking everything all the crust that passes over it.
Right. And so he's saying, like, since that has been that little U-shaped path it's taken has been dated to be hundreds of millions of years.
Of course it has.
Right.
It's a good question, though.
Yeah, it is a good question.
It was a great email.
Yeah, great email. Dude,
I think we would really like him a lot.
I don't know about that.
He
I
should
don't
come
know.
back. Let's hang out.
No, we actually we got a good report also on you guys, Paul.
Yep.
Yeah, Carl and Corey said y'all were great, and they were very impressed with the intelligence level of your homeschool kids.
Yes, that's right.
They were just like, "Wait a minute, am I talking to an 8-year-old right now?" Or
Yeah.
yeah, that was cool. So congratulations. I wish we would have been around and met you guys. That would have been great. So next time you're coming through, hopefully we'll be here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were actually
In Egypt.
we were
Oh.
flying out that day.
Oh, okay.
I think is what it was. Yeah. So
They didn't tell me to come meet you, so blame them.
Oh,
I mean, I
Yeah,
could
I'm
have straight up just been there.
yeah, sorry. I told Carl they were coming through, but I forgot to say anything else. I was just
made a mistake.
Yep.
Yep. Well,
Yeah, I could have told you.
Sorry, babe.
Sorry.
All right. Now we're gonna take a break.
Yeah, we'll take a break. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Brothers of the Serpent podcast, Snake Bros Institute for Advanced Coprolite Studies. And we are going through all of your emails. Well, I don't know if it's going to be all of them.
That sounds like you've hacked into their email. You're
Yes,
going through all of your
I'm
emails
reading your
currently.
emails right now. So, let's see.
Oh, snaky leaks.
This first one says, yes, snaky leaks. This first one says, don't dox me. So, let's see. Discord name. Okay, yeah. Discord. Okay, so you give your Discord name. You tell me not to mispronounce it, which means I'm definitely going to. Calicdire?
You asked for it.
That's right. It's hilarious. He's like, I'm Calicdire in the Discord, and then to give me the pronunciation help, he just spells it again. This is how you say it.
Okay.
Very helpful, bro. Thank you. So he says, and this is called drunk retard reporting.
Wait a minute. Did you skip one?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing, bro.
Why is it flagged?
It's flagged because I need to respond to it.
Oh, okay.
So this is so he says, "What's up, Kyle and Russ? Yours is a podcast to rival Rogan. This is more of a short story than a tome. I have finally slithered through the back catalog up to episode 265, and I've worked out a formula for brain expansion. Number of episodes times 1.33 times plus the number of episodes is these eyes plus 1.33. I've got brain damage from my head meeting violently with a concrete floor at 9.81 meters per second squared. So my expansion is probably closer to 63%, making this formula completely useless. I'm waiting for Path of the Poles Part 7, and I have started back from episode 2, and I'm up to These Eyes episode 23. Honestly, I have picked up on so much that I didn't understand in the first listen through. Anyway, my name is Calicdire in the Discord. You pronounce it Calicdire. No excuses for getting this wrong. Love the work, guys. Keep it up. Don't dox me. Snakes.
You did that perfectly. Wow.
Thank you, Collector. That's great. Cheers, bro.
I love how many people send us brain expansion formulas. They're like, I know how to figure this out.
What's the deal with the maths?
I don't know. And I thought it was funny that we also got 9.81 meters per second squared in this one.
So do
Okay, so you skip another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is from D. It's titled Freezing Live Humans and Frogs. Reference episode 16.
Wow. All of these referencing very ancient episodes.
It says, hey guys, I was just listening to episode 16 when you guys talk about the issues with freezing and reviving animals. You point out that freezing water expands and that it lyses open the cells. That sounds reasonable, but what I was taught was that the problem is not with the freezing, but with the de-thawing. Is that freezing?
De-thawing. It's how you freeze something. So yes, we agree. The
think we
freezing
agree
is the
now.
problem.
As the water/blood thaws, there is an intermittent period where part of the blood is liquid, but with ice crystals still floating around. These ice crystals are sharp and they literally cut up your insides. The problem being thawing and not freezing is why rich people today will freeze themselves, well, just the head actually, when they are near death in hopes that the technology will progress and they can be revived eventually and be cured of whatever was killing them. Is this happening today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that
Freezing
word
their
supposed
heads?
to
I
be
think most of
splices,
them,
maybe?
since it's just the head, that whatever was killing them is probably gone.
Yeah.
You know, if you have like, I don't know, liver cancer or whatever, but just the head gets frozen, you don't need to worry about curing the liver cancer. You
Yeah,
just need to
yeah.
rebuild the body afterwards. But okay, so what we were talking about, well, I guess finish the email and then we'll.
What were
I was just going to say maybe it splices.
What
The
do you mean?
word that
Oh.
maybe he's meant to say splices.
Where?
Yeah, yes, lysis.
lysis?
Yeah, I don't know what word that is. Maybe splices.
He's
I
talking
don't
about
know.
cutting later. I don't know.
I don't know.
Sorry, I got hung up on that.
No problem. All right. He says, this brings me to frogs. Totally understandable. Frogs are one of the only known macroscopic animals to regularly survive freezing and thawing naturally in nature. This is because their blood contains a high percentage of molecules known as antifreeze proteins. Also, urea, glucose, and stuff creates an osmosis effect that helps as well. Anyway, long story short, chug some antifreeze and you should be good to go. Just make sure no one thaws you out before they cure antifreeze poisoning. D.
Yeah, so I thought one of the problems with freezing is that there is, I mean, you're talking about the blood. So that maybe I've got this wrong, but I thought the problem is that when the water inside a cell actually crystallizes, it will burst the cell walls because it expands. This is the problem with freezing people. Like every cell is going to burst,
Yeah, so the watcher says that lysing is the bursting of the cells.
Okay, yeah.
I said it right. He's saying
the writer wrote?
Lysis
the writer
is-
says that the lyses open the cells. So it's a plural of lice.
Yeah, he's making it.
Lyses I don't know. Lysis.
Yeah, lysing is the bursting of cells. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
But
I had never heard that word before.
you have a comment on this, Watcher?
Yeah, so what you're saying is true. It's more of an issue in plants because plants have a rigid cell wall. It is still
What's
a problem
more an
in
issue?
The
freezing?
lysing of the cells because plants have rigid structure with a confined space that holds water. It does still happen in plant tissue or animal tissues rather. What he's talking about with frogs doesn't have so much to do with the proteins, but the fact that amphibians are cold-blooded, like reptiles. They also get away with this. You can slow them way, way, way down, and they can, with the addition of heat, come back. The real problem you run into is getting an electrical rhythm back in human tissue. If you can't get a regular electrical rhythm in the heart, you've got nothing.
Okay.
And because of the damage caused by the freezing to the tissues, since the heart's a muscle, your nerves are essentially wiring.
Severed and messed
Right.
up.
You have cracking, you have breaking, and you can't
So there-
restore the electrical rhythm.
So you're saying that there's problems in both freezing and thawing.
Yes, both directions. De-thawing and thawing.
Okay.
Okay,
right,
so yeah,
well,
I just looked this
thank you,
up.
D.
It does. I just looked this up. The Book of Knowledge does say it is a misconception that freezing mammalian tissue typically results in ice formation within cells, causing the cells to burst. As mammalian tissues are cooled, water leaves cells osmotically to form extracellular pure water ice crystals. Interesting.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then those crystals destroy stuff.
Right.
They cut you up.
But this is also under the article heading "Scientific Justification for Cryonics Practices." So I don't know, but yeah, that's interesting
stuff, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for the email.
Do you want me to freeze your head if you die before me, just in case? Wait, if you're already dead, that won't work.
Well, it has to be it has to be right
Yeah.
at the time of death. Like there's interesting ideas like how do you set up a procedure where somebody can be like right after they die, you freeze them very quickly so that maybe later they can be revived. Yeah, once science solves all the problems.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so this is a short one from Donna. It's called Darren QU. It says, "Hello, snakes. When I see images of the underground city of Darren QU in Turkey, my mind instantly jumps to the Hopi legend of the ant people. Does this ever occur to you? In love and gratitude, Donna."
Yeah, for sure. It actually looked like when you see the The little cross section of it. It looks like a like leafcutter ant
Yeah.
colony beds or whatever you call
Right.
it, ant beds. They're little gourd shaped caverns and then tunnels leading between them, and it looks so much like that.
Yeah, that's
For
true.
sure.
I guess I had never thought of that.
Leafcutter
but-
ant. What? I want to look at it.
Like the leafcutter ant beds.
Okay.
I saw a video of. I think they, what did they do? They poured something into this leafcutter ant bed, and filled it with some kind of liquid,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
and then
right.
it solidified.
Yeah. And
and then they
carefully
excavated it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's huge. It's this massive thing, but it's all these little caverns that are sort of, gourd shaped. And then they're connected with tunnels and stuff. It looks a lot like Terran QU. So, agreed.
I have to admit,
The
I've
ant
never
people.
thought of that. Yeah. I mean, yes, the idea of people living underground connects with the ant people, but I had never thought that the cross section looked like an ant colony. That's interesting.
Well, we think alike then.
Yep.
'Cause, I did think that. All right.
This is from the old man from Scene 23.
Who's that? What's that?
The old man from Scene 23.
What is that?
Says it's a Monty Python reference.
Oh, those things
You need to watch that movie like 30
They
times,
are
babe.
creeping up everywhere. all the
30
time.
times. 33 times. Did I take the bell? I guess I took the bell out of here too. Whoops.
And we didn't flip that.
All right. He says,
You took the dinghy?
I did. I took the dinghy out of here. So he says, rapid lithification of Venus. Snaky boys, I've been catching up on some earlier episodes while you've been in Egypt trying to glad. I bumped into this article after listening to episode 56 and 57. It got me thinking about the rate of lithification. How fast can it be? What effect could cause the preservation of pristine footprints in mud or clay? They exist because we can see them, but how? If you go outside now and stick your bare foot in some mud, how likely is it that it will last a month, a season, a year of seasons, a century of seasons, a millennia of seasons? I asked this same question, bro. For the kind of defined footprints to exist as they do all over the world, what kind of environmental conditions would have to exist and persist for that mud/clay to sit there undisturbed for the period of time that the standard model says has to elapse for that footprint to turn into stone? Think of all the things that might act on that wet footprint in that time frame. Other feet or slitherings, rain, standing water, once dry, sun, wind, more feet, over time, vegetation, fires, floods, earthquakes, sunquakes, comet impacts, plants bumping into Earth, etc. Planets bumping into Earth, etc. I think you get the gist. So, if it takes millions of years for lithification to take place, what can account for the preponderance of footprints from ages past? Perhaps the ages are not required for this process. Perhaps just specific conditions. Perhaps the attached article could be the crack that could be used to drive a wedge into the standard model of gradualism, splitting it asunder once and for all.
That was beautiful.
He says, another thing, who says that the unifacial stone tools must predate bifacial? Do we not have both types of tools in simultaneous use now? Would future archaeologists,
Good point.
upon finding artifacts from our time, presume that the scissor or wood chisel predates the knife simply because it involves one less step in the manufacture of its edge? Seems preposterous for our time, so why of the past? But probably so, they will no doubt be the same type of personality. And another thing, I have to become totally obsessed with the new album. Hey, cool, bro. Procession is fucking awesome, dudes. I've woken up with solace in my head numerous times. Talk about waking up smiling. Even my kids love it. They are 8 and 10, boy and girl, respectively. They both asked me to put it on in the car. I couldn't be happier. That's cool, dude.
Aw.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And he says, I'm going to pop smoke before this turns into a book. But before I go, I just wanted to say that pyramids are barred ours. Cheers for the continued brain expansion and happy slithering. Kindest regards, the old man from scene 23. P.S. Have you seen The Black Knight? I've been waiting at this bridge for a while now.
Oh, he's
He hasn't
loving it. He's all in on it. That's good. Thank you for the email.
Yeah, it Pop Smoke, the old man from scene 23.
I'm going to have to watch it again.
only got one, you see?
I'm going to have to watch it again.
Well,
guys.
I do think that the whole thing about footprints, preserved footprints. I agree that there are very specific conditions. You said perhaps specific conditions are required for this process, and I think it is. But it's the same as making a fossil in the first place. Generally speaking, an animal walking around in its normal biome that dies doesn't get fossilized. It lays down on the surface, and then it gets taken apart by scavengers, and then ants, and then
The bones get crushed and
Yeah.
they get degraded. They
everything
rot.
gets scattered, and it doesn't turn into a fossil. So you need very specific conditions to create a fossil, and it's the same for the footprints. And that condition is something catastrophic takes place, generally speaking, even if it's a local catastrophe like a landslide
or a flood.
or a flood or like Vesuvius in Pompeii, right?
Yeah.
This caused a kind of fossil of the entire town and all those people and their animals and other objects because they all got covered in ash.
Yeah.
So it's a catastrophic geological event. So the way a footprint would be preserved is, and this was interesting because who was this we were talking to? Was it the dinosaur guy from the Natural History Museum that was talking about fossil footprints and one of the ways that they
Dinosaur George?
think Dinosaur George?
I think that's his name.
I know he.
I'm pretty sure he was the
I
one
know
that was
what you're
telling us
talking
this, like that. So like a lot of these dinosaur footprints, the idea was that they're running the dinosaurs are moving around in a wet environment, but it's like a small amount of water, and then beneath the water is a layer of silts and muds, and then beneath that is a denser clay layer.
Yeah.
So the foot goes down, passes through the water, passes through all the silts, and then leaves an imprint in the clay.
Like you can imagine stepping
and then
in the
when
bottom
they-
of a lake.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
Your foot goes through a bunch of sludge and then hits something more
Yeah.
dense, and you get an impression. in
Right,
there.
and then when the foot leaves, the silts and clays or the silts flow back into the print and basically protect it.
Yeah, they fill.
And then if the water dries out, and then you have a foot of silts on top of the print preserved in the clay material, and then that has time to lithify. It gets covered by other stuff, whatever. But in general, I think it takes catastrophic events. Like one concept is that the print has to be preserved from all the stuff you were saying, like seasons, rains, and you can't have other stuff walking on it or whatever. So one possible thing is that right after all the prints were made, a bunch of water comes through and carries a bunch of material and dumps it over the area.
right.
Right. And then it's underneath
Which
10 feet of stuff.
That just. Yep. It's just hard to imagine that a bunch of water is going to carry a bunch of stuff and not wipe off those
Right, it
fine
has to cut-
silts and just
It'll have to come in slowly, right? So like the
like back flooding or something like
Yes.
that can lay a lot of silty.
right, the backflood water is full of silts. It flows into an area slowly and then sits there and
Yeah.
drops all the silts before
Right,
it flows
for
back
sure.
out. Right.
And it wouldn't even have to sit there long. If
Like
it
the
was muddy
Bitterroot
enough.
Valley, right,
Right.
is a backflood area. So that all this nasty silty water flowed in there real slow and sat and dropped a bunch of stuff and then went back out slowly as well.
Right. Buries
yeah.
it deep enough to where then once it dries out, it doesn't get. The thing that bothers me about all these footprints, especially, the Pleistocene megafauna and humans and all this kind of stuff, because we know at least something catastrophic happened at the end. And that's really what you're pointing out is kind of what I think about when I see these things, is that, first of all, it's strange that you have a scenario where you have like almost like a lake bottom, but it's shallow. It's like super shallow, right?
Yeah.
Like it used to be a full lake. There's maybe some banks that have mud and stuff that you would leave some footprints, but those are going to, if there's any time, like on the bank, there's other animals, just like he's saying, there's all this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it just seems to me like a lot of these footprints was when the lake was drying up. So it's super shallow. So something had changed climatically. Things had changed.
Yeah.
So you've got footprints all across the basin of this lake that never filled back up with water.
Right.
So something had already shifted, which is what makes me think that all these footprints in this lake were like the
Like
last.
you're talking about the white sands prints.
the white sands
Yeah.
in specific, where this was like the last moments of this lake being still wet, like these
Right,
clays still
yes.
being wet.
And so maybe you've noticed, I've noticed this, that in certain places where it gets muddy and it's kind of clayey material, like even if it's a couple of tire tracks, like a vehicle drives through and makes deep ruts in this clay, and then the puddle that was causing it to be muddy dries up and the clay hardens, but it gets desiccation cracks.
Yeah.
But I mean, those tracks after that clay hardens are almost invincible. You know,
Yeah.
they're incredibly hard, right? They won't. I mean, you can walk all over it; you're not going to hurt it. Even other vehicles can barely
That's true. That's a good
affect them,
point.
right? But their desiccation, they have all these desiccation cracks, which a lot of these prints we see don't show that.
Yeah, they're still together. They don't.
Yeah,
have
there's
huge-
no cracks, so the drying must not have happened. You know, it wasn't a subaerial thing; it was beneath other sediment, is what
Yeah.
it seems like.
Yeah, but I mean, even those cracks will go way down, too,
Right,
like in
Yeah,
clays.
that's true. Yeah.
It depends on the type of clay too, because some clays
Don't shrink as much. Yeah.
shrink when they dry up and expand a lot when they get wet, and maybe others don't do it as bad. I know that they do it at different, like there's different degrees of how much they expand and contract, because like a specific type of clay that is used for sealing ponds is bentonite, because it expands the most when it gets wet. It's one of the, it expands a whole lot compared to other clays. So you can use this clay in a pond or something, and when it gets wet, it expands and fills all the voids. So probably that also plays a role. What type of clays are the footprints in?
Yeah.
They use the bentonite in skincare too. It goes in your pores and expands. I think it's supposed to clean out your
I can see
pores.
that.
But then you have to get it wet to wipe it off with the washcloth. So if you're getting it wet again, if it's trying to
Oh,
suck,
you let it dry and then it shrinks and
Pulls. Oh, it extracts.
yeah,
I
can
think
see that.
it's yeah. You put it on, dries, but then you take it off with a wet cloth. So I don't know.
But it's probably already like wicked stuff out of your.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the skincare is working.
Well, are you giving skincare advice on? Are you giving
I've al-
skincare advice, ladies?
It was just something I thought about before with that bentonite
have huge
clay in
bags
the
of it.
mess. Yeah.
You can find.
I thought where we were wetting it again when you wiped it. I don't know.
I have like a 2,000-pound bag of bentonite
Just
clay.
slam your face into it and see what happens.
We also use bentonite
Dude, if
clay
you
in the
did
winemaking
it just
process.
bentonite clay without any other additives, I wonder if that would.
I can bring you some.
I might try it. I hope it doesn't like burn a spot on my face.
No, it's not going to do that.
Just make sure you do the whole face.
Yeah.
So that
It's
there's-
just clay.
you can't tell the difference.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Bring me some.
But yeah, we use it
An
in the
experiment.
winemaking process
It's
too.
a fining agent.
Yes, it's a fining agent. It will absorb like certain proteins and stuff, and then it gets heavy, and then it falls out of solution. And
Yeah.
It makes a sediment layer that you can make footprints in in the bottom of the wine vat.
Bottom of the wine.
Bentonite. That's what we learned. Thank you.
Yeah.
Emailer.
Good
And good
email.
questions.
Yes. Okay, this is. Let's see. This is from Graf Buttflapperheimer von Schland. Says, who let the snakes out? Greetings from the rabbit hole. According to the article appearing at this link, it appears that someone let the snakes out. I think I checked this, but I can't remember because it was a long time ago. It says, Dankeschön for pulling me up from the depths of induced cognitive dissonance. Snake.
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön. Sorry.
Yeah.
Graf Buttflapperheimer von Schland. P.S. and ITM. You guys are in a close tie for first place as the best podcast in the universe.
Ooh.
ITM.
But since your contender is analyzing information from an entirely different angle, I can live with that and enjoy you all. I find parts 7 through 10 of your book reports to be the best. And he says,
okay, cool. He's a, yeah.
Yeah. And he says, thank you for your courage. Well, thank you for your courage.
Thank
and in the morning to you, buddy.
Love
really appreciate that.
email.
Graf Buttflapperheimer von Schland. You got to read the next one. I'll take a look at this article.
Yeah, and Frank. I just have
Frank.
to. You were the one who posted the papers in the Discord, and I could not remember. I was just like, dang it, I forgot your name, Frank, for a moment, and I'm really sorry about that. Commander Frank, folks.
Ah, yes.
Frank. Sorry, Betty. Okay. Next email is again from Jason. And he says he is just retarded, not drunk this time. He says, hi, Kyle and Russ. I'm currently These Eyesing episode 47. And when talking about the frequency of colors being absorbed and the reflected color frequency is what we perceive. Yes. He says, I can't wrap my brain around various different wave frequencies all becoming resonant in an object to absorb that light. Scripter this idea. He says, the color we see is the frequency that resonates and becomes amplified, blocking out the other light waves. Regards. Oh, wait, did I just dox you? You didn't say don't dox me, bro. But now your name is Calictire. And I'm like, wait a minute. When he was drunk, he did not want to be doxxed, but I just said that his name was Jason.
Just do it again.
Everyone forget that this is an email from Jason. This is an email from Calictire. He says, snakes! So, I would skirp that idea. I would say that the energy of those in the light at those frequencies is absorbed by the material because the material is ringing, right? If the material starts to ring because of waves impacting it, it's actually absorbing that energy. That energy is not being reflected back out into the medium or into the world around it. So it's like dampening panels in sound, right? You have this dampening panel and it absorbs certain high frequencies or something. Whereas if it was just a flat wall of stone or a flat wall of like with sheetrock or something, you get this harsh high frequency noises bouncing back at you. So you get some kind of panel that absorbs those high frequencies, and then what comes back is a little softer. So I am skirping the idea. It's not that they're resonating and re-emitting it. I think that's what he's asking.
Yeah, okay.
So he's like various different frequencies all becoming resonant in an object. He's like, he can't wrap his brain around this. He says the colors we see is the frequency that resonates and becomes amplified, blocking out the other light rays. Like as though it's the light comes, this white light that has all the frequencies, it hits an object, and the object resonates to a certain, like the green, and amplifies that back at you. I'm saying that if it resonates at the green level, it's absorbed the energy of the green. So where is there more energy coming back? Like you're not getting more energy from something that resonates with something else. They're just in tune. In other words, it's like a transducer. You can change that energy into this mechanical vibration. You could, I I suppose you could change that mechanical vibration back, but it wouldn't be more.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be enough to block out the other frequencies. It'd just go back to being white light.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And I think I see what his problem is there too. So basically the idea is that it's reflecting the color that we see and absorbing everything else, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reflection is the easiest explanation, right? If you put a mirror in front of a light, it just comes back at you.
Right.
It's not that the mirror is absorbing all the energy of the light and resonating with it and then re-emitting it perfectly
Right.
so that you see yourself. It's just a reflection.
Yeah.
It bounces right off of it.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me to understand that the green frequency of light bounces off of a leaf and comes back at me, while other frequencies of the in the white light are absorbed by the leaf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I skirped you, bro. There you go.
So, and sorry, I was a little bit distracted. I was checking this article that was linked in the previous email. So I do want to read the first part of this because it's interesting. Not the whole article, but I want to read the first part of this. So the previous emailer was talking about, let's see, he said, someone let the snakes out, according to this article. So let me read the beginning of this. It's interesting. It's written by, it's called The Rise of Archaeologists Anonymous. In a quiet group chat in an obscure part of the internet, a small number of anonymous accounts are swapping references from academic publications and feverishly poring over complex graphs of DNA analysis. These are not your average trolls, but these are scholars, researchers, and students who have come together online to discuss the latest findings in archaeology. But why would established academics not be having these conversations in a conference hall or a lecture theater? The equation of anonymity on the internet with deviance and mischief and hate has become a central plank in the global war on misinformation. But for many of us, anonymity has allowed us to pursue our passion for scholarly research in a way that is simply impossible within the censorious confines of modern academia.
Man.
And so, in these hidden places, professional geneticists, bioarchaeologists, and physical anthropologists have created a network of counter-research.
Wow.
So, anyway, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically what he's saying is that the anonymity allows you to research what might be a possible controversial topic without it getting attached to your name in academia, because that can destroy your career.
Yeah.
But the research needs to be done.
Yeah.
So these people are all anonymous and they're all talking to each other. None of them know who they are in the real world,
That's
but they're
cool.
doing actual real research, like academic kind of research. And I don't know. That's interesting. I can post this link in the Discord for people to read. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. We are
And
up
sad.
on break. Yeah,
Cool
well,
and sad.
it's great.
Yeah.
Don't be grumpy.
Hey, it's
It's
still-
bad.
It's still good.
It's good. I'm just saying it also shows you the state of academia.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
That's what I'm saying. Like the fact that they have to do it anonymously.
And I agree with that, but at least
least it's still happening, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ended on a good note.
Snakes.
Sucks.
Starting the trumpets immediately for Ann Hunitz. So I don't have to hear any more complaints about us talking over all the horns.
Stop talking over the trumpets.
Hey, Anne.
Hi, Ann.
Thank you for all your gifts recently.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
This is the final segment, and yeah, it's been a great communications episode catching up with you guys.
Yep.
Always enjoyable.
I think we might actually catch up.
Really?
We'll see.
Wow.
We'll see. All right. So the first one for this segment is from Xander. Says, "You turned me into a freaking nerd." Thanks, guys. You turned me into a freaking nerd. There I was. just so happy and content with my small brain that had not yet received any expansion. There I was, just so blissfully ignorant, believing dutifully the standard model that I had been taught. There I was, thinking the pyramids were tombs for kings. There I was, thinking mythology was just a bunch of interesting bedtime stories. There I was, thinking the constellations were just some drunken pictures from days gone by. But now, oh lordy, now things have changed. Now here I am listening to podcasts about science. Now here I am not only listening to podcasts about science, but podcasts about scientific books like quantum physics and the geological North Pole. Now here I am listening to pontifications about string theory and resonant frequencies. Now here I am looking up at the stars. Here I am seeking out ancient mythology. Here I am with at least 33% brain expansion. Here I am with a partial certificate of ignorance stating that I am 99.9% almost always wrong. Drawn with my crayon, obviously. Now here I am, a total freaking nerd. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is, I like it. Goddamn snakes! Your podcast is really great, and it's turned my attention to things I had no idea that I was interested in. Could you, if you could you give me some direction as to books I could read that would give me accurate depictions of mythology? I'm going to reread the Old Testament now with these eyes, along with the Torah and the Indian Vedas. Does the Quran or the Book of Mormon have any good stuff in it? Any insight into books or mythology that has snaky information buried within it would be awesome. Also, Randall has mentioned several times about a certain guy who has a bunch of information about stars and constellations. Who is this guy? I must consume his content. Yeah, so that would be David Matheson.
Yep.
We've had Matheson on our show a couple of times. Anyway, he says, best regards, Xander. Hopefully a worthy initiate to the Brotherhood of the Serpent. P.S. I love the book reports and listen to every episode, the freaking nerd that I am. Snakes!
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great email.
I am also looking for audiobooks that have good, mythology and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to find so far.
Join the Discord. That's what I would say first. Like, there's a lot of people in there that are very knowledgeable about mythology, and there is an entire...
I should do that.
There's an entire... the Library of the Serpent, which you can access through the website, but if you join the Discord, you can get specific recommendations, because I think the library is pretty large. Also, Hamlet's Mill will give you lots of interesting mythology if you can plug your way through it.
True. There's some good stuff. I don't know. I'd have to look on my phone, which is actually a camera right now. it's right up there. So I can't help you. But I did find a couple. There was a podcast where the guy, he starts going through, I think it was Greek mythology.
Yeah, there's a couple of good podcasts.
He does a really good job. And then I start at the beginning and then it gets really good. Like he gets real, like better and better. You can hear it, just developing his craft.
Yeah.
And he's kind of funny too.
Yeah. Does he write songs about stuff? Is that?
I think he does.
Yeah. Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh. Yeah.
Oh, is that ancient history or?
No. Well, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm drawing a
I
blank
know
on
he
it.
does
But yeah,
write
it's
these funny
pretty good. Yeah.
songs at the end about
Is
that.
that what it's called? Just ancient history? You have it?
I'll see if I can look it up.
Okay, well-
that sounds familiar. Funny songs with
The
ancient-
Watcher says, play Titan Quest.
Yeah, Titan Quest is fun. But hey, I played it again recently, and playing it with these eyes, it's still very interesting, but basically it taught me a lot more about mythology back then. So if you've already done a lot of studying of it, it basically gives you the intros to all the stories, right? But playing it again now, I'm like, okay, this is it's just scratching the surface.
Okay. What else? You got any other recommendations?
No, that's why I'm recommending he go to the Discord, because those people will help him a lot more than we can on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
literature and history. I think it's this one.
Okay.
Is the one I'm
Look
thinking
it up.
about that has songs at the end. That the
Could
guy
be.
wrote.
Okay, this one's from But Flapperheimer von Schlant. He just says, Sir Kyle, ITM, congratulations, Sir Kyle. Thank you for your courage. Well, thank you for your courage, my friend. And it's just not to be, too homo correctus, but it's Sir Willis of the Rock.
That's Sir Willis of the Rock.
Sir Willis of the Rock.
He's congratulating Kyle
Thank
on
you,
his
sir.
knighthood.
Appreciate that, buddy.
Okay. Another one from Trevor. This is hilarious because I feel like I keep reading these because I feel like it's going to make an endless recursive paradoxical chain, right?
Okay.
It's called Warm and Fuzzies. From Trevor from Peace River. He says, "Dear Snake Bros, where do I even begin? There I was, cooking supper, listening to episode 245 when you read my other email. Man, this feeling is indescribable. Warm and Fuzzies is actually a real physical feeling.
It sure is.
Warmth from my heart and the fuzzies and shivers and vibrations all through my body. Thank you. This community that is forming is incredible with you guys and so many more. It's expanding exponentially as I listen to all my different podcasts in random order. The synchronicities are incredible. I've been inspired to write, and to have y'all read my emails builds my confidence to continue. The next sode you had on Brandon Powell, another awesome person that I had heard on Grimerica once before. Another guy that I will eventually meet. Just want to encourage you guys. Kyle, do the cold therapy. It's so incredible.
I know, bro.
He's done it.
Maybe it's different growing up in Canada where I'd be outside all day anyway during winter playing hockey as a youth, snowboarding, or now working in the oil and gas industry where I'm outside most of the day. Going into the cold for me seems natural.
Maybe he has us mixed up because you're the one that's like, I am not getting in cold.
And I did.
I know you did.
Yeah, I'm saying. So I took his advice.
Okay.
And I did do it the last time when we were at the Scablands and Brandon was there. And I told Brandon, I was like, I'm going to do it, bro. Like, put the ice in. I'm getting in. And I did. 3 minutes, almost 3 minutes. It's like 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Wow. I didn't know this
But
part because I wasn't
went
at the last one.
fully head under, held my breath. Brandon said I was under for 30 seconds. That's hard.
Yeah.
Because it's like you go under and your whole body's like, I managed to stay down.
Wow, Russ.
And then I got out and did what he said. He was like, don't dry off, don't go inside, don't warm up. He was like, he showed us some like physical exercises to do and breathing. So I stood there dripping wet, freezing cold, and like did the exercises and just pushed through it. It was cool. So I did it. I managed to do it.
Well, good for you.
Thank you. So Trevor says, for me, going into the cold seems natural. That episode with Brandon recalibrated me to go deeper into my practice. Consistency builds incremental growth. And then one day you look back and realize how far you've come. The band, the album, Procession. Wow. It keeps getting better and better the more I listen. You have some hits there, man. I imagine hearing This Is War or Epoch being played all over the radio. Epoch is my favorite song.
Yes. Oh, man. Thank you.
The last sode
One of my favorites, too.
The last sode I played was the bonus one with the band interview. Great story on the development of the album. Even it was mostly lies. Ty
No, come on.
is full of crap. Everything that Ty said was a giant lie. So Trevor says, I decided to help share this to as many people as I can. Your model is incredible. The value for value could be the future. I hope anyway. To me, you made that music the best way possible. Your way for the art. I loved that sode. Love the album. So I had to give back $33.30. First time ever I felt I really understand the lyrics, but they also say more than one thing to me. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, this is approaching book length, so I better stop. Sorry, much love, and snakes! Oh, and P.S., one more thing. The Marty episodes. You can't pre-read the info like that. Having you guys on the edge of your seat asking questions like all of us listeners was so entertaining in the early episodes. Let Marty keep dangling you guys along. LOL. And PPS, thanks for playing that old original bumper song. I think the first email he asked you to play the original, which was Breakfast.
Oh, yeah,
We can throw Breakfast in on this one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome, bro.
So,
Thanks for your...
so about the Marty episodes, Marty and I are basically working on. We're constantly developing how the UFO episodes take place, and we started out. He came here and presented his material himself, and then later we went with he came here and then I read his material. But then eventually Marty and I decided that it's better for me to like pre-read it so that I know what is happening, because Marty has a specific way in his mind he wants it to be presented, and I need to know what's happening in the text to be able to do it that way. So right now, the model we're going with, and this may change because we're constantly changing how it works. The model we're going with is I pre-read it, but Kyle doesn't. So Kyle's still in the dark until it gets read on the show. But as it is now, like I do glance through the material, I speed read it maybe a day or two before the episode, before we record the episode, because it's better that way. The material is presented better that way. So also I would say that I've done quite a bit of reading on the UFO, the subject of UFOs, not nearly as much as Marty, obviously. So it helps, and Marty said this, it helps if I know where he's going in the text, because then I won't do what Marty hates, which is reveal something that's about to be said before he wanted it to be said, right? This is Marty.
Hang it, Marty.
Marty wants to go through his entire massive buildup before the thing is said. And
You're
sometimes
stealing his thunder.
right?
all the
And
time.
sometimes if I'm cold reading it, I'll be like, "Oh, this reminds me of blah blah blah," and Marty's like, "Ugh," because he was kind of getting to that.
Russ comes out of the studio with a bag full of thunder that was Marty's.
Right, that's right. I take a lot of thunder back up
He
to the top
takes his thunder.
to the tower after the Marty episodes. So basically, if I pre-read the material, it helps with that because I know where he's going because I've read it already.
I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder on this subject, folks.
Well, now that I'm pre-reading it, I don't steal thunder because I know that it's coming.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I just
Sounds
let
like
Marty
you guys
say
are
it.
working it out.
We're working it out. It's,
Marty's basically like letting Russ share the thunder, but it's not being stolen
Right.
anymore.
That's right. I'm not getting ahead of Marty.
I'm still going to catch up on everything so I can get with the program on the alien talk because I want to
can't
be
believe-
there.
yeah,
I
UFO
know.
episodes
I
are
want to
your-
be
that's
there.
your thing.
But I'm also a little worried about how long it's going to take. But I'm going to do
18
it.
years.
I'm going to do it.
It's going to take.
18 years. Right. Have you tried listening at like 1.5 speed or something?
gonna try it.
Okay. Yeah.
This is going on my list of things to do.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the email, Trevor.
Yeah, appreciate the kudos on the album too,
Yeah.
man. That's awesome. Very humbling, but I'm glad you love it. I love it too. And it's my turn.
It
I don't
is
know
your
what I'm
turn.
doing.
Yeah, I was about to ask what's happening.
Kyle
still-
doesn't have it queued up.
Well, there was
Something
a
weird
lot of
was going
stuff
on.
in that email, but
Oh, do you want to
aliens?
You want to go back to it? Like what other stuff did you want to respond to?
Let's see. No, we should let's move on. Are we almost caught up? How many we got here? Yeah, let's keep going.
We got 3 more.
I just really appreciate it. So thank you very much. That's enough. This one. This is from Rob. He says, "Thank you. Hey, Snake Fam. I've been listening for a couple of years now, and I'm finding it hard not to reach out at this point. By far, this is my personal favorite podcast.
Wow.
I've been interested in comparative mythology and ancient people and cultures since I was a kid. The day I found a toad in a fairy ring in the grass where my grandmother helped me put a small dish of milk the day before had me thinking I was Merlin at 3 years old.
It's like I command the forest. That's so awesome.
Because, fairies are shapeshifters after all.
You know what a fairy ring is, right?
I'm not sure if I
It's a
completely
ring
understand.
of
Like
mushrooms.
stones. Oh, mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. So he found a toad in a ring of mushrooms in the grass.
They put the milk in there, and then the next day there's a toad, and he's like, "Yes, magic."
So he says, anyway, not to get too dark, but the past few years have been rough. Single first-time dad, lifestyle change, financial difficulties trying to find a new career. Long story. Fighting depression and alcohol abuse. My daughter was enough reason to change my career path and drinking habit for her. However, this podcast, all of you put energy into, allowed me to give myself a spark of life I had lost within myself.
Wow.
I absolutely love looking at all of these topics with not only these eyes, but also through the eyes of a child. with things starting to stabilize, I'm stabilize a bit. I'm planning a trip this June to take her and her buddy and his kid, or her and a buddy and his kid to Cahokia and Serpent Mound as we live between the two, closer to Cahokia.
Oh.
Also, Giant City and Lake Egypt area of southern Illinois are interesting to say the least. Cairo, Illinois was named after Cairo, Egypt. Thank you all for everything. What this podcast means to me is hard to put into words. I hope to donate more in the future. As of now, I've only donated for the Procession album. Amazing. Keep it up on all fronts. Wow, thank you, buddy.
You gave money to the band before you gave to the podcast.
Hey, what this
That's
podcast
fine. It's great.
That is
means to us is hard to put into words too. So we know how you feel. Thanks for loving us. We love you.
appreciate it, man.
Yes, very much.
P.S. I've had some hand-me-down lithics from my dad. Nothing big, but some cool local Illinois finds. I would love to share pictures of them and get some thoughts. Most appear to be spear or projectile points. One really looks like a straight white quartz. And a couple of other little tools. Let me know if you are interested in seeing them. Again, thank you, everyone, for all the work you do. And what you are doing means a lot for some of us, as I've heard plenty of times before.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's always I don't know how to I feel inadequate to just say thank you, but I'm always blown away when I hear things like this listening to the show has caused some kind of life change like that. It's so cool.
Help people through hard times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And we appreciate you telling us.
Yeah, I appreciate the note, and I'm humbled by this. And wow. Yeah, thank you very much.
And we would love to see pictures of your lithics.
Yeah.
Send them through the email, man.
Okay.
What?
My mind went to the gutter word
Okay.
direction. Send me pictures of your lithics.
Yeah. Send me a lithic picture, baby.
Lithic pics. Okay.
I hope you have a great time in Cahokia and Serpent Mountain.
The back of the bus on the Egypt trip was taking pictures of stoners. We called them stoners.
Enough said.
Yes. Interesting Egyptian carvings.
All right. Two more. Let's see. This is from Corey, called Montana Mega Flood Trip Question. Hello, Snake Bros. I found you through listening to Cosmographia. I had listened to a dozen or so shows when I became curious who Russ and Kyle were, and I found your podcast, and I have not stopped listening to it since I discovered it. I'm on episode 102, and I'm making a point of not listening to Cosmographia until I find out when they overlap. Once I figure out when they do, I will listen to each by date of release if possible.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Well, I can give you some help a little bit. Episode 90, where we had Randall on, was right before we went on that first trip with him. And it was a couple of months after that we started recording the Cosmographia episodes.
Yeah, so if you're on 120, I mean...
102,
Or 102.
you should be close to when they both started.
Yeah, for sure.
Or I'm sorry, you should be close to, like 102 is probably in the range of when we were starting to record
See,
Cosmo.
I'm dyslexic even with sound.
I thought the same thing when you said that.
I didn't have to
Same thing.
look at it. It just turned into this move to whatever.
Okay, so Corey says, I can relate to your relationship, Russ and Kyle, since my brother and I, Al, 42, and me, 40, have been having chats on the phone multiple times a week for the last couple of years. Like you, our lifelong relationship lends itself to a conversation and inside jokes that no one else can match. I appreciate what you have done for me and assuredly many other listeners in the realm of hominess that your podcast brings. I just learned about Contact the Cabin in the recent episodes that I've been listening to, and I want to join. My only concern is that I don't really know anything more than what I've learned through Randall and your shows. I am highly interested in the content, and share the information with anyone who is willing to listen? Would I be wrong in feeling that if I were to join everyone in Montana, that I would need to bring something to the group aside from my insatiable appetite for knowledge and positive attitude toward alternative history?
No way. Just
You'll fit right
You
in.
would be
Yeah.
wrong. That's what
Just how you are.
Just
You
come
will fit
on.
right in.
That's right.
come on, old boy.
You don't have to bring anything extra. Just show up if you're interested.
Well, don't be grumpy though.
Me?
No,
Oh, yeah,
I'm
them?
saying,
Oh,
I'm
them?
just.
I'm like, wow. I
You're
didn't know I
saying
was
you don't
being
have to bring
grumpy.
anything.
Don't
No,
bring extra grump.
Yeah.
You don't. You're saying you don't have to bring anything, and I'm just saying. Well,
Listen, me and Ben have the grump handled. That's enough grump
bring
for the whole
yourself.
group.
Bring a
Yeah,
smile.
yeah.
You're gonna fit right in.
Bring some beers.
There you go.
No.
Yeah.
What if it's just too much trouble, babe?
Then don't show up.
Beers are never too much trouble.
Okay, so he says, I have visited Montana and Idaho on a couple of occasions and am excited to learn about what I was seeing each time. I apologize for the length of this email, but figured a little background on a potential contact at the cabin attendee couldn't hurt. Thanks for your time. Hope to hear back from you, or you, from Corey.
I hope you come to an event.
Yeah, so this is how we respond to emails. So hopefully you hear this. If you're listening to things in that specific order, you might not hear this email for a long time, though, or hear us respond to it. So maybe I'll write back, which is a rare thing. It's a very rare thing. I like to respond on the show. All right, one more, and then we're done.
Caught up.
This one's foul, so you may
Wow.
have to, some F-bombs
All right.
being dropped.
Oh, F bombs.
Let me see if I can edit this one on the fly. The flippin' day after I listened to the episode where you talked
Wait,
about your
it's called Hiccups from
Samuel.
Samuel.
I was just starting with this fantastic first sentence.
Sorry.
Anyways, the freaking day after I listened to the episode where you talked about your crazy ass cure for hiccups, my 6-year-old daughter came up to my wife and she said she had the hiccups looking for a glass of water because I had always told her that to fix that was to drink a glass of water fast without taking a breath, which incidentally typically worked for me. Sorry for the run-on sentences. I immediately took control and said off the top of my head, go stand in that corner, pointing, and put both of your hands on your head and jump up and down 15 times.
Yes.
She, of course, looked at me like I was joking, possibly crazy. That happened to be at our Christmas dinner table, so when I repeated it to her 4 times very seriously, but with a smile on my face because I couldn't help it, I had quite a few curious looks pointed in my direction. I told everyone about what I'd heard from you and then pointed out that she wasn't hiccuping anymore, which blew my mind, by the way. The reason I'm writing you is 3 parts. 1, I learned a few years back that if you say applesauce to someone who has the hiccups in between their hiccups, they will lose the hiccups.
So they're like, applesauce. Applesauce.
I understand it to be a distraction that throws them off mentally, which cancels the hiccups. B. So he went from 1
to
to
B.
B. After I did that to my daughter 2 days ago, I just got the hiccups by myself playing video games while everyone else was in bed and repeated those instructions to myself. I did actually put my hands on my head as I laughed to myself and thought about it, but I didn't get up off the couch and my freaking hiccups were gone, bro. 3. Based on the previous 3 examples given, 1 directly from you, I think the main key is simply mental distraction, which is freaking weird. I have a long way to go before I catch up on your current episodes, but if you were to experiment with giving the same crap advice to the same people multiple times concerning hiccups and still get the same results, I would love to hear it. And I have a feeling it could cure the world.
Cure the world.
It was cure the world. Maybe email me back if it happens. Would be quicker. Question mark? Nope. But I'm not that special.
No, we'll just read it on the show.
Yeah, no, this is definitely faster.
Yeah.
Really enjoying what I'm listening to and super freaking glad you're doing Cosmograph Weird with RC and also that he occasionally does Joe Rogan because otherwise I would never have heard of you guys. Thank God the internet has made a small world because I appreciate hearing from the JRE, Cosmographia, and now you guys on your own podcast as well. So I guess my reason for writing to you was 4 points. This was the last part. Point D. That was a fucking great email.
So is there a backstory about these hiccups that I don't know about?
So way in the early episodes, we were talking about, Kyle was saying like one of the ways you can get it's foolproof is like somebody
I would
has
do this. I would do this
yeah,
to people.
and I've done it to people too. Like once Kyle told me about it, I experimented with it too. It's basically you just give them a random series of instructions, just whatever.
Yeah. So there was a thing like when I was in high school, people would there were various people who were like, oh, if you do this, it'll stop hiccups. And I was just like, it's probably just basically what he's saying. It's like, you're just distracting the person.
Yeah.
Making
or
them
you-
think about what they have to do.
You're changing up something. So I would like give these random instructions to people when they had hiccups and it would stop them. So that's what he's responding
You just
to.
make it up on the spot and make it something weird and random.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it works every time.
I see.
I've tried it with people. When Kyle told me about it, I had to try it on people. And so, someone's like, oh,
I
these
can see what
hiccups. You're
you're
like, oh,
saying.
here's how you
But
cure
you do
though.
it really like
Yeah.
No,
here's
like,
what
this
you
is
do.
what it
like,
is.
this
Yeah,
is
and
it.
you
then
act
just
like
make
yes,
it up.
and then you just
You're like,
make
oh,
it up,
okay,
and
this
it
is a new
works.
thing. I've
It's
never heard
different
this
every
before.
time, and it works.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. You just
Yeah. Because then they're like, what? Really?
yeah.
You're like, dude, seriously.
Yeah.
And they
I
do
was
it.
told one time you just had to change your breathing pattern and it was good to go.
Yeah, same deal.
So I would
Somebody
always
just
when I
randomly-
get them, I just try to do something to change my breathing pattern.
Yep. Somebody made that one up, babe.
Yep. Made it up on the spot.
Probably so.
The cure for hiccups is to make up a weird activity on the spot.
Okay. I
That's
mean,
the cure.
I completely believe you.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the emails. brothersoftheserpent@gmail.com if you want to get on the show. I do read them all. I can't read them all on the show, but I read every email that gets sent to us. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And if you write in, you never know. You might be like Trevor, one after the other.
Oh, wow. Go Trevor.
Trevor's
Roddy the
never
Mammal.
sent an email that hasn't been read
Wow.
so far. He's 3 for 3
He
or
might
something.
need a button.
A Trevor button?
He might need one.
I've read every email from Roddy the Mammal. There's quite a few that I read almost everything from.
Oh, okay. So, Trevor, you're not special. Never mind.
No.
They're not going to give you a button.
No, I don't think Roddy's ever sent
I was
an
trying to
email
help
that
you
I
out.
haven't read.
Roddy got like special, post sound editing.
Yeah, Roddy got like
Okay,
fireplace
okay,
sounds.
then
and like-
Trevor
pen.
should get something.
Like,
You should give him something.
Because Roddy just, he's, I know, he sits by his fireplace and he writes with a quill.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Like, I bet his stylus has a giant feather sticking off of it, like when he's writing on his.
Yeah.
Maybe he has one of those. He probably has a remarkable tablet and he's going,
Yeah, maybe.
because I just hear it.
From the desk of Roddy the Mammal.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you, Trevor. We're going to try to get you something going.
It's a lot of work to add stuff in post. So, we did it a couple times for Roddy, but I don't think we've done it in the past few
No,
times he's
no.
written in. Yeah. It's a fun joke to do it a couple of times.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway,
Don't
brothers-
get your hopes up, Trevor.
Yeah,
I'm
Brothers
rooting
of
for
the
you, bro.
Serpent. No, Laura's like, you guys should do that. She has no idea what she's asking for.
Give him a button. Just give him a button.
Just give him a button.
Just program something over there and make it go.
So yeah, brothersoftheserpent@gmail.com. And thank you guys again for all the emails. Thank you for all the support of the show. We love hearing from you guys. Seriously. And these episodes are always a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they are. I love coming on.
Anything else?
Don't you have a whole paper you read?
Happy
from?
New Year.
Producers?
Oh,
Do I
yeah.
have producers?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
crap.
he's
I
not
don't
even
know.
prepared. You can't
Not
throw that on him.
prepared.
Okay,
because
not prepared. That's okay.
Dang it.
brothersoftheserpent.com is the website. If
he's
you
using
want
the
to
saw earlier.
I was chopping up the studio.
That's
before
right.
the
Kyle
show,
was
people.
tearing the studio apart. If you want to support the show, you can go to brothersoftheserpent.com, find the PayPal link or the Patreon link. We do make Patreon content. So if you sign up for Patreon, you will get extra content, including a lot of the bumper songs and sometimes Patreon episodes. And yeah, I think that's it. Shout out to the Discord.
Love you, Snake Force.
Awesome. The place is still growing. Yeah, you can also find Discord links on the website.
Sorry, Frank.
Hey, if you're a snake sister in the Discord, hey girl.
We love you guys.
Always have.
I
Always
love you
will.
the most.
Ah, she loves you the most. Good night, Adamu.
Get back to work. Good night, Watcher.
Yeah, Watcher.
We never say good night to the Watcher.
Oh, poor Watcher.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes.